Hello everyone, myself is Supriya Ambarkar from Walchand Institute of Technology, Solapur. Today we are going to discuss a topic on different approaches of mutual exclusion. The learning outcome at the end of this session, students will be able to identify the different approaches of mutual exclusion in distributed systems. Mutual exclusion. The resources in a system that must not be used simultaneously by multiple processes. Exclusive access to such a shared resource by a particular process must be ensured. The sections of a program that need exclusive access to shared resources are referred as a critical sections. So when no two processes can be in the same critical section at the same time, that is called as a mutual exclusion. As an introduction, an algorithm for implementing mutual exclusion must satisfy the following requirements, that is a mutual exclusion and no starvation. In terms of mutual exclusion, we have given a shared resource accessed by multiple concurrent resources processes. So at the same time, only one process should access that resource. So no starvation means if every process that is granted a resource eventually release it. So every request must be eventually granted. So vice versa we have to handle. In a single process system, mutual exclusion is implemented by using semaphores and monitors. Now pause a video and write down your answer. A process can enter into a critical section. So options are anytime when it receives a reply message from its parent process, when it receives a reply message from its all other process in the system, and none of this. Answer is C. A process can enter into critical section when it receives a reply message from all other concerned processes in that system. Now we will see the approaches of mutual exclusion. So there are the two approaches, centralized and distributed. We will see in details. Centralized approach. The system is elected any one process as a coordinator, and that process coordinates the entry to the critical section. Seek the permission from the coordinator. If no other process is currently in that critical section, the coordinator can grant that permission. The process concurrently asks for permission to enter into the same critical section. So we will see this approach in terms of this example. So this is an PC, the coordinator of particular process. P1, P2 and P3, these are the three processes. Every request has been made by a particular process, those who want to enter into the critical section, and the coordinator will grant that particular permission. At initially, there is no one in the critical section. So at that moment, P1 want to make a request, then PC will coordinate that yes, no one is there in the critical section. He is reply, yes, you can enter into the critical section. Now your P1 is in the critical section. Now at the same time P2 and P3 want to enter into the critical section. So in the third and fourth, both are requesting the for coordinator. We want to enter into the critical section. So the entry of P2 and P3 is in the queue. But when only the P1 has released the particular critical section, then only P2 or P3 has chance to enter into the critical section. So after getting the message of P5 release, then PC will see whose request has been made first. So P2 has made a request first. So he is replying to P2 only. You can enter into the critical section. After releasing of the P2, the PC will reply to the P3. So accordingly to that request and reply and release message should be maintained. So in a such a way that P1, P2, P3 all are entering into the critical section. Then lastly, there is a status of that queue is no one is there in the critical section. The advantage of centralized approach, no, the algorithm ensures a mutual exclusion. There is a no starvation. Sequentially, all will get the chance to enter into the critical section. It requires the three messages to request, reply, and release. Disadvantage is that if the single coordinator is going to fail, all system is going to collapse. Now the second approach, that is a distributed approach. Here, the mutual exclusion is distributed across the entire the system. So much of the system concerns are there. First, the algorithm was presented by the Lampard based on the event ordering. Then Ricard Agrawala proposed a more efficient algorithm, generate a timestamp which we want to call as a unique for each event in the system. This approach made a request message for all other process message containing the following information. What we want to consider in request message? Process identifier, the name of critical section that a process want to enter, unique timestamp has been generated by the process for the request message. Now, reply should be sent back. Sends back a reply message to the sender or defer a sending reply based on the following rules. So, if the process is itself currently executing in the critical section, then we have to send a reply back, wait. Then, if the receiver process is currently not executing the critical section, he has to reply the message. If the receiver process neither in a critical section nor waiting in the turn, then only he has to make a reply. Now this we will see the example of distributed approach concept. In diagram A, P4 is already in a critical section, that is a scenario. Then P1, P2, P3, there are the three concerned processes. Now P1 want to enter into the critical section. He has made a request. P2 again want to make a request. So at the same time, P1 has made a timestamp of 6 and P2 has made timestamp of a 4. So request has been made to each and every process. 6 will be there for the P2, P3, P4. Then the P2 ka times, what is the timestamp? 4. It will be sent to P3, P4 and P1. In this diagram B, the status while process P4 is in still critical section. P4 has received the two requests from P1 and P2. Then P3 has not interested to enter into the critical section, so he has given a reply to P1 as well as P2 as a OK. Now P2 has made a queue, that is a deferred queue. He has made an entry of a P1. That request has been made by the P1. Deferred sending the reply to P1. He has made a deferred. He is waiting because the P2's timestamp is less than P1's. So P2 has thought that my timestamp is less, so I just don't want to give the reply to the P1. So in the C diagram, P4 has exist the critical section. So he has made a request, reply in terms of a OK message to both the queues. Now P2 has all the entry. He has got the reply from P3, P4 and P1. OK message is there. And the queue itself having enter into the critical section. P1's request is there. Then P2 has entered into the critical section. He has a chance to enter. Then in diagram D, P2 has exist the critical section and he has made that request uh, in terms of a OK. Now P1 is there who has got the replies from all concerned three nodes of process, and P1 has a chance to enter into the critical section. So the distributed approach having the advantages, this algorithm ensure the particular mutual exclusion as well as centralized freedom from starvation. The this algorithm also the free from deadlock. But disadvantage is that this algorithm is liable to endpoints of failure. Each process know the identify to all other process. A process willing to enter into the critical section can do so only after communicating with all other concerned processes. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of distributed approach. These are the references which I have referred for this particular video. Thank you one and all. Thank you.